Bill O'Reilly here. Welcome to the No Spin News. Wednesday, October 19th already, 2022. Stand up for your country. Well, it's all over for John Durham and the Durham investigation. Didn't get a conviction again. We have a really good guest who's going to bring us inside that and explain what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I wish I did, but I'm fairly disappointed in the whole Durham Russian collusion investigation, but we'll get to it. But first, the talking points memo, doom, D-O-O-M, for the Democrats. If you want to be amused this evening, and I know there's a lot going on, but I did a Hannity radio program. I do it every Wednesday. And Hannity is very worried that Republicans are not going to win in November. I'm not so worried about Republicans because I'm an independent and I don't worry about any political party, but I do believe there will be a red wave. And I explain it to Hannity in very minute detail on his radio program, as I did here last night. So if you watched this last night, you got a little inkling, but it's good radio going back and forth with him. So again, this morning, we have another poll. Politico, which is a left-wing internet organization, comes out with a poll, and it looks to be fair methodology-wise. 2005 registered voters. A question, thinking about the upcoming November 22 midterm elections for U.S. Congress, do you expect the candidates' views on each of the following will play a major or minor role in deciding who you vote for? Major role for the economy, 81%. Minor role, 16%. So the economy is everything. You know, and Biden's trying to make it about abortion like he did yesterday. We'll get to that in a minute, but it's not going to work. People are feeling pain and people are angry. I'm angry. Now, let me tell you why I'm angry. I don't have to worry about paying the bills, all right? I have assets. But I worked hard for these assets, and I invest conservatively. And I get my statement at the end of the month, and it's down this year big. I lost a lot of money on paper. Now, I'm not going to sell or panic or do any of that because that does me no good at all. And there's nowhere else to invest my money at this point. So I'm going to keep it there and hope that Biden is defeated and the Democrats are defeated on November 8th. Republicans come in and begin to turn the government around. Remember, 2 years ago, we had the strongest economy on earth, and everybody in the markets, whether you were stocks or bonds or gold or silver, wherever you were, it was going up. Biden destroyed it. So I'm angry about that. This is my hard-earned dough. But other people have it a lot worse than me. They can't even, they're not even solvent anymore because they're paying so much at the grocery store and the gas. Where do the home heating bills come in? Whoa, where do you see that? Turkey's up 73% from last year. Turkey. And all of this is Biden, 100% Biden, not Putin, not Iran, not the Wicked Witch of the East. Biden. He's the one that upset the American fossil fuel industry, which then chained down, and then Putin capitalized on that by starting a war. Okay. The next poll in this, or next question in this political poll, thinking about your vote, what would you say is the top set of issues on your mind? Economic issues, 42%, security, 13%, healthcare, 7%, senior issues, 11%, women's issues, birth control, abortion, 14%, education, 2%. All right, now you don't have anything there on border security or illegal migration. It's a big one, but Politico doesn't want to get into that. But far and away, this is a vote about Joe Biden and the Democrats destroying the economy. That's what this vote is. So this is the worst year for stocks since 1969. Unbelievable. Worst year so far since 1969. Mortgages are at their highest rate in 20 years, home mortgages. And that, of course, is going to lead to less construction and housing prices coming down. All of that's going to dovetail into the recession. We're already in a recession, but people are still working. That's the only part of the economy. The U.S. Corporation, small business need workers. Okay, and that's the only thing that's keeping from a complete collapse now. So what is Biden doing during all this? Is he saying, look, I got a plan to get inflation down and to make the economy stronger, get the stock market up. I'm going to be favorable to business. No. He wants to raise taxes again, Biden. And yesterday he goes out and talks about abortion. Okay, that's it. The Democrats believe that abortion is going to put them over the top in November. They are wrong. Okay, that's all I can tell you. Now, NBC Nightly News, Lester Holt covered the Biden abortion thing. They gave it a minute, 2 seconds. 9 seconds of his actual speech. You only heard from him for 9 seconds. ABC News, 1:48, minute 48, 26 seconds of Biden's speech. CBS News, just 32 seconds, 10 seconds of Biden's speech. So they covered, but they didn't cover, extravagantly. Final thing in the talking points memo. The media will begin to panic this weekend. You'll see it on the Sunday shows. Nobody watches the Sunday shows, but those clips go on the internet. The media will panic because they know now there's no saving this. There's not going to be some kind of event that happens and turns the Democratic fortunes around. It's not going to happen. All right? They know it's doom, as I said in the opening of the T points. And so they'll individually start to try to get Trump back in the game. That's what you're going to see. Try to drag Trump back in for the last 2 weeks and scare independents or whatever they're going to frame it. I will chronicle that for you, okay, beginning Monday. So every time they try to drag Trump back in, which they will, I will point it out who's doing it and how they're doing it. Because they don't have anything else now. Abortion's not working. It's not working. Okay, the women in this country, according to the New York Times, we reported yesterday, independent women breaking big for Republicans. And that's the ballgame. Independent women, by the way, caused Donald Trump to lose in 2020. Now they're coming back. And that's a memo. All right, Joe Biden, he delivered remarks today on strengthening energy security. I don't know what that means. And then more remarks on bipartisan infrastructure law. I don't know what that means. None of this means anything really to you or me. This is just busy work, as the nuns used to call it. But Biden did do something interesting. He said that he'll release another 15 million barrels from the U.S. petroleum reserves. So a lot of you write to me and go, well, who's going to replace that? So Biden is releasing the barrels of oil, 15 million of them, to keep the price of oil artificially low. All right, so there's a lot of oil in the USA from the reserve. It's harder for them to raise prices, the oil companies. But Biden says, hey, when oil hits $67 a barrel, the federal government will start to buy it to replace the reserves. So what is oil today? Anybody know? Raise your hand if you know. Crude oil is $83 a barrel. So it's got to get down to 67 for Biden to buy. Is that going to happen? I don't know. How long is that going to take? Nobody knows. So there you go. Another thing that I get a lot of mail on is student debt forgiveness. So just keep this in mind. Right now, Biden's plan to cancel student loans is expected to cost us, the American taxpayer, $400 billion. It's about $2,500 for each American who pays taxes, all right, to forgive these loans. But what they don't tell you is the loans will not be forgiven unless they were taken out through the Department of Education. So if you took out a loan from your local bank to pay for your kid going to college, or he or she did, that's not in play. It's only the loans that went through the Department of Ed. But there's a ton of them. Okay, 12 million people have already applied for these loans, according to the Washington Post. And Biden wants more. So it's a $10,000 forgiven, you're forgiven on the loan. That's what he wanted. Now, is this going to happen? No. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say it's not going to happen because lawsuits are going to prevent it. Cato Institute filed yesterday basically says that President Biden's order is illegal because Biden nor the Department of Education has the power to cancel student loans without congressional authorization. That's true. That's true. So that's going to block it. But it's going to be a long time getting there. Other states have filed lawsuits against us: Arkansas, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, South Carolina. The Pacific Legal Foundation's filed a lawsuit. There's a lawsuit in Wisconsin. So you can see there's all kinds of lawsuits against this. That'll delay it. And then if the Republicans do take Congress, as I think they will, it'll be over. Hiring, of course, should be done on merit. Unfortunately, many large financial firms are using your money to force companies like Apple and Home Depot to adopt so-called racial equity audits. Strive Asset Management believes it makes companies like those less successful. But here's the good news. It is your money, not theirs. Strive just launched the Strive 500 on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol STRV. Strive uses their shareholder power to mandate America's largest public companies to focus on products and profits instead of politics and social justice. The bigger Strive gets, the more powerful their voice will be. Text BILL to 55022 to learn how you can buy the Strive 500, ticker STRV. That's BILL to 55022 to learn how you can buy Strive today.
Investors should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses carefully before investing. For a prospectus or summary prospectus with this and other information about the fund, please call 855-427-7360 or visit our website at www.strivefunds.com. Read the prospectus or summary prospectus carefully before investing. Investments involve risk. Principal loss is possible. The Strive ETFs are distributed by Quasar Distributors, LLC.
John Durham fails again. All right, so I've had it. Enough. You had, 30, 40 million. What Durham was tasked with was finding out how the Hillary Clinton campaign and the FBI, those two, Hillary Clinton campaign, FBI, helped in the fraudulent Russian collusion accusations. That's what he was trying to do. That came under Trump and Attorney General Barr. Again, I'm going to review it. Hillary Clinton campaign, FBI. How did they help foist this phony Russian collusion scenario on the American public, the voters, us? Durham has failed. Okay? So yesterday, Igor Danchenko was found not guilty by a jury in Virginia of lying to the FBI. Okay? Before that, Michael Sussman was found not guilty of lying to the FBI. Those are the only two cases after 3.5 years or something like that that Durham brought. All that tax money spent, him and his guys running around, and they got booted on both. I don't want to hear about Durham anymore. I don't know about you. Joining us, well, wait, before I bring in a guest. So the media reacted to this last night. Go.
Trump was obsessed with John Durham, who he called Bull Durham. John Durham. Because he was the guy who was going to prove once and for all that the entire Trump-Russia investigation was a hoax. Exactly as Trump had always said. Justice was coming. It was just around the corner.
I mean, we've been waiting and told, hold our breath, there's more coming. Just be patient, be patient. This is, I don't even think disappointing does justice to how bad this is. I mean, this is just, after everything that the right has been through and all of the misallegations and misappropriation and the Russia that was taking us through the first couple of years of this Trump administration, to see this all go down the tubes and all of the faith put in this special counsel, John Durham, unbelievably disappointing.
You just have to wonder whether this could be Durham's swan song here, that this was something that, you know, there was great expectation here, and it's just fizzled.
There's no wonder about it. He's through. Joining us now from Washington, Jim Trusty, who's a former federal prosecutor. He's a partner at IFRA Law now. He knows all the players. And I am saying that Durham is done. You say, sir?
I think you're pretty much right. I mean, it's a heck of a fizzle, and but I do think there's a little bit of a trap that we may be all collectively falling into, which is the idea that you can only draw conclusions from criminal convictions. You know, the story in terms of what happened with Hillary financing the dossier, the misconduct of FBI leadership, you know, that story is still out there, and frankly, that story is probably going to make its way into a report that hopefully the Attorney General releases at some point for all of us to see. But no doubt, I mean, no prosecutor wants to go into the business of prosecuting false statement cases and losing them one after another, like we had here with John Durham in D.C. and then with in Alexandria. So
but even
definitely
if
a bad day.
even if the does come out in a report and all this, the American people have checked out. They don't have any confidence in Durham. They don't have any confidence in the federal government to investigate anyway. Can't even find a leaker of the Supreme Court thing. I mean, they have no confidence. Now, I said foolishly on Monday that I thought that Danchenko would be convicted, and I based my naivete on the fact that Danchenko did not testify, and his lawyers presented no witnesses at all on his behalf. So it was just Durham's prosecutors saying to the jury, they did this, 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 and this. Yes, it was cross-examination on it. But I said to myself, the FBI's got to have data to back up their allegation that Danchenko lied to them. So if he's not even going to refute it himself, he's got to be guilty. And obviously I was desperately wrong. How did I go so wrong?
Well, Bill, you know, your predictive powers are exactly like mine when it comes to sporting events. I don't think I will ever win a nickel on any prediction or any trash talk associated with that. So look, I think there's a few things. I think, you know, to be real serious about, number one, I think the country feels a little bit of false statement fatigue. You know, these 18 USC 1001 prosecutions became real popular under Mueller. I mean, we've seen them historically from time to time, but they were the coin of the realm in the Mueller probe. And for a lot of people, you start having this nagging feeling that the FBI can't prove up substantive crimes. They can't prove the bribery, the Foreign Agent Registration Act crime, you know, the quid pro quo. So they settle for these process crimes, and their discretion was being used in a very aggressive way during the Mueller probe to go after various people. Now we see the Durham probe going the same way, doing these 1001 cases. And I have to say, Bill, when that gets in front of a jury, when your whole case as a prosecutor is saying, hey, this guy Danchenko lied to us when he said he talked to somebody on the phone. Really, he told us he thinks he did, or he might have, or he probably did. And we think that's a federal felony lie. You can almost feel the jury deflate in the room. Like, this is why we're here. You know, we've got a wayward FBI informant now being prosecuted for some claim of dishonesty that somehow is material to the FBI investigation. So I think in a very general sense, there's a growing problem with these 1001 cases.
Okay, so the jury goes to, what's the big deal here? Maybe he lied, maybe he didn't, but it does not beyond a reasonable doubt. So we want to just get rid of this thing. And that's human nature. Now, there are people who believe that you cannot get a fair jury in the Washington, D.C. area where you live, that you just can't. They hate Trump so much that anything associated with Trump that might help him, the jury itself is already polluted, going, we don't want to participate in that.
Yeah, I mean, well, look, Sussman, I think, is kind of exhibit A on that case. The Sussman trial, which was in D.C., you know, that jury was done before opening statements, it feels like. So you're right. There's a very strong political allegiance to the Democratic Party in D.C. Alexandria, where the Danchenko case is a little bit different. It's a little bit of a crapshoot. You get Fairfax County, Northern Virginia folks that are a lot like Montgomery County, where I live, very, very highly educated, very liberal and politically active. But you also get the rural counties. You get people that are further out from DC that tend to be conservative. You get retired CIA, FBI, military types. So the jury pool in Northern Virginia is a wild mix. I can't really say that it's the same as DC, but I will say this, Bill, on these cases that are not inherently powerful, they're kind of bloodless process cases for a federal jury, the lawyering makes a difference too. And I will tell you that, and that's no aspersions towards John Durham. He's an old war horse. He's been at it a long time. But I know Danny Onorato and Stuart Sears, the guys that represented Danchenko, are great lawyers. And so you give them a marginal case and they play it very smart. They don't put on a defense because they want to turn to the jury and say, this case didn't dignify a defense. It's too weak. We're here for political reasons. We're here for a sloppy and dirty FBI that was willing to give $1 million to Danchenko to prove up the Steele dossier. So a lot of dirty laundry aired about the FBI doesn't help in a prosecution of an FBI former informant.
I think that's excellent analysis, Counselor. I think you really nailed it right there. That the jury doesn't trust the FBI at all, and they've screwed up so many times. They're so politicized now that they just want to get out of that jury room. We appreciate it very much. Thank you, sir. I thought that was the best analysis I've heard. And let me know what you think. Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com. Listen to this. Convicted home title thief explaining what happens after he forges your home's title and takes over as the new owner.
Nobody thinks that I can take their house and borrow against the house. Oh no, I have title insurance. It's in my name, or he would have to get some special document. They would call me. Nobody's calling you. After I've stolen the title, borrowed against it, or sold the property, it's 60 to 90 days for that person to even figure out that they're the victim of this crime. You start getting foreclosure notices. You've got 4 mortgages on your house. You don't even own your home anymore. It's not even in your name.
Home title fraud is growing 2.5 times faster than credit card fraud, if you can believe it. You could be a victim and not even know it. Here's how to protect yourself and verify your home's title is still in your name. Please visit HometitleLock.com, promo code RADIO. Then register your address for your no-obligation home title report, a $100 value free. Again, get your free home title report at HometitleLock.com, promo code RADIO. Okay, here is the final thought. So life is hard, not fair, and sometimes things go against us. I react usually immaturely by getting angry. That's what I do. But I vent alone. I don't vent on anybody else. But I'm not, when things go against me that I know is terribly unfair or shouldn't happen, like this. Okay. But I take the terror dog on a long walk. I'm a believer in God. Okay? Those of you who are, most likely pray for outcomes. I do. I pray for outcomes. Okay? Dear God, please let this happen. Stuff like that. Now, I know I don't know everything involved with whatever I'm praying for. I don't know everything. Nobody could. But there are certain things that are so obvious to me that, and I don't do that a lot. I'm not going, God, give me this, give me that. No, serious stuff. But I pray for outcomes. That's a relief, because you can put it in then God's hands somewhat. I do everything I can to make whatever the problem is come out the right way. Everything I humanly can do, I do. But if I can't do anything else, then I kick it up to the deity. And I hope there is one. But that's my advice for the final thought. If you're a person of faith, pray for outcomes, but understand that we don't usually understand everything involved. Thank you for watching and listening to the No Spin News. And we have a really good show tomorrow. So I hope you'll see us then. There is a concerted effort to intimidate and silence conservative thinkers, rewrite American history, and replace our God-given individual liberty with big government controls. The very freedoms secured by our Constitution are now being threatened by the most liberal leftists our nation has ever seen. They have failed to secure our borders weakened our position on the global stage, are trying to indoctrinate and corrupt our children in school, and the list goes on and on. But there are plenty of patriots with the courage to stand up to the far left. AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, is the leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization in the USA. I am a member, and I hope you will join as well. AMAC members have access to money-saving benefits, a robust website and mobile app, and a magazine filled with all kinds of great content. So please join AMAC today at amac.us and tell them O'Reilly sent you. That's amac.us.